Welcome to this episode of the Thinking Big podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking with Rhonda Dalton on how to believe, build, and brand yourself to a better life. Rhonda is here to tell us how she uses her experience of pivoting from a job to doing what she's passionate about and to help others find out what they're passionate about. Today, we're going to be thinking big on finding your passion, because if you're not doing what you're passionate about, you are not living to your true potential.
Welcome to the Thinking Big podcast with Sean Osborn, the show helping you think bigger into your life and potential. Sean believes by equipping you with the tools, strategies, and philosophies required to be successful in all aspects of your life, you can achieve anything you believe in. Empowering our own growth makes a deeply positive and lasting impact on our lives, community, and our world. Now, here's Sean.
Welcome to the podcast, Rhonda. It's so good to have you on the show today. Tell us how you got started in your business, and really how did you make that pivot from working a job to starting your own company?
Well, my business actually started about 6 years ago. The business itself has only been going for a couple years, but 6 years ago, I was working for a corporation who was going through, I don't know what number it was, but they were going through another reorganization. And I had been through several with that company. And what I found with that was that um, my attitude was changing. I've always tried to be a real positive person, but what was happening in the company, there were people that were just losing their jobs left and right.
Right.
And it happened that the company hired somebody to come in and learn what I was doing to eventually replace me, because I was getting up into, a certain amount of money that I was making. And
Right.
so when I figured out that was happening, of course, I was not happy with it. And I turned into this person that I didn't like. And so I knew that, first of all, the company's morals had changed, I felt, and they weren't aligned with what mine were anymore. So I decided to leave. I mean, I left. I was there for 13 years. I thought I was going to retire there. I left at 51 years old. No, wait, 49 years old, and thinking, oh my gosh, where am I going to get another job?
Right.
That, in fact, we're in a small community, and where am I going to get another job to replace this for what I was making, and the benefits I would have, and all of that. Well, my husband and I talked about it, and we had been through things before where we were paying our own insurance years ago because we were both self-employed, and so we knew we could do it again. We just knew it wasn't going to be easy.
Right.
So what happened was, first of all, I had been painting furniture. I'm an artist, and I went to school actually for graphic design. And I had gotten away from that because I was working at a job that was closer to home, and that was the reason for leaving what I had been trained for in the first place. But now I knew that I could get back to doing my artwork. I thought, this is my opportunity. These are signs for me to do something better and do something that I'm really passionate about.
Right.
I was just working in it was a job. It was, basically just paying your bills, looking to have a decent retirement. That's all I was living for. And so I knew I wanted something more. And so that's how this all started. And so what I do today is I first started painting furniture two years before I left that job. And I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to go into. I can go into painting furniture and make a business of that. And then also at the same time, my husband has a sand and gravel business. So I started working for him, doing his bookwork. and my family needed me. My parents are elderly. They live with us, so I helped take care of them. I also had a niece who had a preemie born, and I helped take care of her. So there were just a lot of things that were going on that I thought, there's just some reason I need to leave this job.
Right.
And so when I went to painting the furniture, I loved it. I joined several painting groups on Facebook, and that's where I learned that having a community to be a part of that has similar interests was so helpful. I could not have had this business without all of these people that I was able to get in touch with, all these people I
Right.
never would have known had it not been for Facebook. And I never thought of using Facebook as that.
Right. And I think that's even more critical right now with what's going on, is being able to do that. I think this whole, finding your passion and finding out, because I think the whole way that we're going to see how businesses are run, I think everything is now, with what's going on, I think everything's going to change, especially if this goes on more than another, 3-4 weeks. It's going to be critical that people are going to have to get back to their creative side, whether it's, and by creative, I don't just mean in artist and drawing. I mean, being creative on what can I do to bring forward something that I do in a way that I can survive. And I think that's going to be critical moving forward here. It's going to change the face of how we do things.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. And I think it already had been starting to make that shift
Yeah.
to where people are doing more online. And when you think of it, I'm thinking like a lot of businesses are probably going to realize now that they have people working from home for them for
Yep.
this period of time, that maybe this isn't a bad thing for their business. It might be more economical.
Yeah.
And I think people would be happier.
Yeah. Well,
I
not only
don't
that,
know.
but you're going to have people who are now working from home saying, I don't want to go back. I want to continue doing. So you're
Right.
gonna get it from both sides. People aren't gonna, once you open the floodgate, you're not going to get them back very easily. It's going to be, I've shown I can do this from home. Let's continue this, and it's going to change the way we do things.
Right. Yeah. My sister, who she is a nurse, or well, she was a nurse in OB for many years, and she ended up leaving or retiring from that position. And then now she goes into people's homes and she trains them how to use a device to check for their Coumadin levels. And she just learned, and she's had to travel quite a bit for that job. And now she just learned yesterday that she's going to be able to do it from home via Zoom or webcast or whatever
Right.
platform. And she's so excited because she gets to do that from home.
Yeah. And it's gonna change. I mean, every industry is going to change. People are, as this goes on further and longer, people are going to get creative on how to do them remotely. I think there's going to be a lot of new technologies that come up. I think there's going to be a lot of new things coming out that will allow more and more remote, which is a kind of a scary thing. I mean, if you think about it, we're in a way, we're almost going to be losing some social capabilities that we have. It's I'm already going, I think 6 days in, and I'm already going stir crazy. My wife is already practicing social distancing for me. So she's good at that too.
My husband's so busy all the time. I'm usually home and he's off, hauling his gravel. So
Right.
we're practicing the same thing. I'm just worried about or I shouldn't say worried, but I'm most concerned about my parents because they're elderly. Their health isn't very well. They live in the lower half of our house, and so I don't want them to be exposed to anything. So basically, we get their groceries for them and make sure they're okay, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole world is changing, and the thing is, though, with the social media, I have to say, well, I would not have this business without the social media aspect
Right.
and working online. I would not have even, when I think back to when I first did graphic design, I graduated in the 80s. We didn't have computers to even do our graphic design work on at
Right.
that time. So in the last couple years, I've had to relearn everything that I went to school for with the computer. And to be able to have that online now is just, it's amazing. It's amazing the things that we can do. I'm amazed every day at the things that we can do now.
Yeah. And if you think about it, me and you, we're on Zoom right now and we're being social. We see each other. It's like having a meeting. So in a way, it's closed down, at least for now with what's going on, but it's closed down some avenues of being social, but it's opened up, I think, a whole bunch of other avenues of being social with people. For instance, I do a lot of cycling and there's an actual, it's not really a game. It's almost like virtual reality cycling, where I'm on a trainer, a cycling trainer, and I'm riding right now every night with people from Italy, with people from Spain. We're talking, we're riding, and it's not the same as going out and riding with a group here, but at the same time, I'm able to socialize and be with a group of people from around the world, which is really
Yes,
amazing.
that is cool. So how does that work? Do you see each other on your cycles when you or on your bikes when you're
No, we don't see each other, but so it's almost like a video game. And you're a cyclist on the video
okay?
game, but your cyclist is actually run by your own bike and your trainer. So we have our road bikes on a trainer, and it's hooked to computers, so it knows how fast we go. You're truly riding in a group, but what you see is just a virtual worlds that you're riding through. But it's this technology of being able to remotely connect that's going to explode. You can do the same thing for running on a treadmill. I can go and do a 5K or a 10K with a group of people from around the world on a treadmill and have all the social aspects of a normal half marathon or 10K or whatever you do. So that type of stuff is going to really explode in the next couple months.
That's awesome. I walk, and I usually, well, I don't always do it, but sometimes I do Facebook Lives when I'm walking, and I get people to come on and talk to me while I'm walking.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if there'd be a group out there for walkers.
Yeah. Just the other night, I did with a group of people with a mastermind that I'm in. We actually did a virtual happy hour. It was awesome.
Oh, cool.
We all had a cocktail and we were all just sitting around chit chatting and had a virtual happy hour. So it's yeah, we're finding ways to still socialize, I guess. So how has social media impacted your business? I mean, I would imagine that you sell your stuff worldwide now. I mean, social media has really changed the way we do things. I don't think we would be able to operate where we are today if we did not have the social media. If this would have hit, something like this would have happened 30 years ago, 20 years ago, I'm not sure how it would have affected people because we
Yeah.
couldn't work from home. We couldn't do all this stuff remotely. We couldn't do that. It would have, man, I would hate to see
Yeah.
if this would have happened back, you know, even 10, 15 years ago. So what type of stuff do you do?
Well, now I've gotten more into my graphic design work. So things have sort of evolved since I left that job. I started out doing furniture painting. I joined a lot of the Facebook groups for furniture painters, and then I found a business coach, Jennifer Allwood. I'm sure you probably know who she is.
Yeah.
I'm in her group, and she is the one who has led me, I feel like, on this path. And what I started doing, or what she preaches a lot, is to do Facebook Lives if you want to build your community on Facebook. And so I found a lot of artists who, like myself, are mostly introverts. We don't like to show our faces or do Facebook Lives. And so there was this problem where everybody knew they had to do this, but nobody wanted to. So I
Right.
thought, okay, if I can start this group and we can do lives together, maybe that would be, I could get people out of their shell and we could do these lives together. So it ended up, it turned into doing interviews with artists from my group. So I have about 700 people in my, it's called Creative Lives Unite. And we support each other with ideas for our businesses. We share share our work in there. There's artists from all different, or creatives, I should say, from
Right.
all different backgrounds. So it's not just people that paint. There's people that do make jewelry. There's people that they work with fabrics. There's all kinds of different artists in there. So I started out doing these interviews. I was doing one a week, and then I just recently, I've been doing those for about a year and a half. And then I just recently cut it back to once a month so that I could be in my group more and serve them more and also continue my education. Just took stage to scale. So I wanted to further that so I can help these people along. And I've learned from so many people on social media. For one, okay, there was Jennifer. I found her there, and then through Jennifer, I found Stu McLaren, who does
Oh
Tribe,
yeah.
and then I found Pete Vargas, who does the Stage to Scale, and now I'm in KBB, and I'm like, wow, these people are just brilliant
Yeah.
and so good to learn from. And so I wanted to take that, what I'm learning now, and I'll help women do the same thing that I've done. I want them to be able to believe in themselves. Like later on in life, a lot of women, they live their lives for just uh, helping their families to be the best that they can be.
Right.
And I think we a lot of times put ourselves in the background and we don't get to maybe live out our passions or our dreams. And when I left that job at that age, I was thinking, my life is over. you know, I don't really have a lot to look forward to, but that has not happened. It has really been quite the opposite. And so I want to help people who are in that situation, people, women who have maybe lived their lives for everyone else, worked at a career that maybe wasn't their passion, and find something that is their passion now, build a community, and then brand their business so that it matches with their mission. Help them figure out what their mission will be, first of all. Help them get healthy because we all know that if you're going to be running a business, you have to be pretty healthy to there's a lot of things that we have to deal with. And I've had my share of health issues myself and things that I've had to get through. And so it's just this all encompassing, I call it believe, build, and brand yourself to a better life.
Right.
And that's what it is. It's just helping them to live the best life that they can.
Now, one thing that I've found in coaching people and talking with people is sometimes it's very hard for people to find out what their passion is and how do you help people find their passion. Sometimes that is so hard to do because a lot of times people do not see their power. They don't see what they have in them. They don't see it themselves. Other people can see it
Yeah.
sometimes, but a lot of times they can't. How do you work with people and on finding what their passion is?
Well, that's a good point because we all, I think, have trouble with that, figuring out what it is. But when you are on the outside, you can see what that person has. I'll just have a conversation with them and then I'll say, write down everything that it is that you love to do and then weed out the things that maybe you're not the best at. Because I know one thing that I've learned, you want to not concentrate on what you're not good at, but concentrate on what you are good at and
Right.
then make yourself better. And go out and learn from the best people that you can find. I do have resources for these ladies because most all of them are creative entrepreneurs that are in my group.
Right.
So through my studies over the last 6 years, I've I've come across a lot of great information and great people to learn from. So um, I also would say I'd want them to find a good coach or a mentor
Right.
to follow. That is so important. And that'll help keep you focused,
Yeah.
I think, when you have one person that you really, really relate to well.
Right. Yeah, that's so important. A lot of people don't, either they don't know or they just don't understand the information that is available to people right now online. And it's, you've mentioned a, ton of people. It's like these people have spent a career, a lifetime of building what they're good at.
Yeah.
And we can, we have the ability to kind of step in and literally pull in their knowledge, their learning, uh, in a matter of weeks, months, and
Yeah.
really learn quickly from what's taken them, a lifetime to learn in whatever they're doing, whatever their industry is, whatever they're doing. And how important that is to connect with people, people that you resonate with, but connect with people that have done something and learn from them. That is so, so important. And for
Yes.
years, I didn't do that. I guess I just didn't understand, that was available. I didn't understand the power of that. I just did not. And I didn't do it for years until I was probably, I would say until I was early 40s, mid 40s, before I really started getting into, hey, these people are, I need to pay attention and I need to, follow these people and listen to what they have to say. I think that is so important to do. And coaches, as you mentioned, that's, having a good coach, and I don't care what level you're at or what you do. If you run a family, if you run a business, I don't care what you run or what you do, having a coach to help you see your potential in what you're doing is absolutely critical. And I don't care if you're a CEO of a fortune, a huge company, or if you're, the head of a PT, it doesn't matter. A coach will help you see the value that you have and the value that you can bring to where you don't see it. It's really just holding up a
Yeah.
mirror. My coaches do the same thing. And I have coaches for different things. I couldn't operate without the coaches that I have in my life.
Right. I so agree with that. And I think about all that I've learned and all that there. Like I said, I think I was led on this path, and Jennifer, I really have to thank her for it because that's where it all started. Um, you know, all of these people that have come into my life that I have learned from have been through her coaching. So uh, she uh, she has just been a great. She's had a great impact on my life, and I know a lot of women out there. I just resonate with her. I think the thing that she said one time that really I thought, okay, this lady understands me, was she said, creative people, we just think differently. And there was so she made it that there was nothing wrong with me because I felt like I'm all over the place all the time. I couldn't focus on
Right.
anything.
Squirrel.
But she said, that's just how our brains are wired. And I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody finally understands me and I feel validated.
Yes.
So, yeah. And so to have a coach that you can resonate with, that is so, so important.
Yeah. And I think for me personally, I
Yeah.
think that creativity is, when we get these thoughts, when we get these ideas, when we get these creative things going on in our head, to me, that is the universe talking back to us. To me, that is infinite intelligence. That's when we sit back and we take in these ideas and we take in these things, that's where, to me, that's where we grow. I mean, that's again, I
Yes.
call it the universe talking back to me on when I get these ideas, when I get these things. And so I think creativity and being creative is essential to what we do. If you think about it, everything that's ever been
Okay.
created is started off with an idea. It's being creative. I mean, we'd still live in
Right.
caves if we didn't, if we weren't creative.
And when you have those creative ideas, I think it's very important to shut off all the noise of,
Yes.
some of your ideas may seem crazy to other people, but
And
keep at it.
yep,
That's one thing that I would, um, I guess, that I would like to say to women is to, if it's something that you totally believe in and you're passionate about, when the times are bad in your business, you're still going to keep going because that's something that's in your soul.
right,
You know, uh, it's not like what I was doing for that other company. I was a QA technician and then I worked in logistics. That was not my passion.
right,
So when things got bad, I left,
yeah,
you know, and what I'm doing today, I can't ever see myself leaving. I really can't.
right. It's who
So
you
it's
are.
too important
Yeah,
to me.
yeah, it's who you are. So if
Yeah.
you step back and you look out 5 years from now, and you see yourself in
Mhm.
5 years, what kind of impact do you want to have had on people?
I want to impact 5,000 women by 2025 to take their passion, build their community, and start a business with what they have experienced in their life. Because if I'm going to make an impact, I want the people that I am associated with to make an impact as well.
Right,
That's how I feel like I can make my biggest impact on the world is to help other people make their impact. And the women that I associate with now, I find that probably the biggest hurdle is having the confidence right now.
right,
But I'm seeing results with I have like a small mastermind of there's probably 12 of us that we get together and we help each other with our business ideas. And I'm seeing already how people will take the things that we're talking about and they're advancing their businesses. Or if they haven't started a business already, they're thinking about starting one or they're actually working on starting one.
right.
I have one lady who would not go live with me for a whole year. And finally she did it. And now she's doing lives and she's so good. And
Yeah,
she has a business where this all of what's happened recently has sort of, I think, forced her thinking into changing
yeah,
and wanting to do that. I'm seeing that with a lot of people in my group that they're thinking now, okay, now my is up against the wall and I have to do something to make a change.
yeah.
And yeah, so that's what I would say.
Well,
Uh,
that's great. And for the people listening, having a mastermind, I'm not sure, there's a whole slew of what mastermind means and doing a
yeah,
mastermind. And
right.
to me, I look back to Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. One of his core 13 principles is the power of the mastermind, and it's so true. You get a group of like-minded people together, and the power, the mind that those create, even two or more, as he says, two or more people come together, create a third more powerful mind. And if the people listening, if you're not in a mastermind, find a mastermind of like-minded people to talk about things you're going through, your business. You will come up with the most creative ideas
Yeah,
working through a mastermind than you ever thought possible, and ideas that none of the participants themselves would have come up with.
right.
It's a whole new a
Exactly.
whole new thing. So yeah, to me, I'm doing, and again, that's what I consider a true mastermind is that it is critical to be in masterminds. And I go through, I have 4 different masterminds that I'm in, as well as 2 that I run. So you can never be in
Okay.
enough. It's almost like a social group. But you're there on a specific purpose, and it's to help
Right.
everybody. And it truly it will, getting into a mastermind will change your life. It really will.
It sure does. And I think, where I first thought of the idea was just having conversations with some of the people in my group, and I'm thinking, well, when I have a conversation with them, whatever they say, it will just spur things in my mind,
Yep.
and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I never would have come up with that idea if I hadn't talked to them.
Right.
And so that's where the whole thing started, and then now I've seen how it works for a lot of people in the industry and in other well, in every industry that there is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. Yeah. I remember not too long ago, one of my friends was working on his car, trying to fix something. And he couldn't fit, a piece back in. He couldn't make it fit. I went out there and I looked at him like, I can't make it fit. We got together. We spent literally, I would say, 5 minutes out there together. We had it figured out.
Oh wow.
It works I'm telling you, the power of the
Isn't that
mastermind
amazing?
works in every way you can,
Yeah.
every way you can think. So
Right.
one of the things that I'm going to do at the end of the podcast, or in the podcast, the show notes, is I'm going to put in a link to how they can contact you. I know they can get with you and do, chat with you, do a 15-minute chat with you, which is
Yeah.
amazing. And I truly want to thank you for being on the show, spending the time. And as I say at the end of almost every podcast, is the most amazing thing that I get from doing these podcasts is I get to talk to and meet some of the most amazing people from around the world. And it is truly, it's truly inspiring. And it's something that I absolutely love doing. This is something that I don't think I'll ever stop doing it. It gives me way more than I think anybody else gets from these, but it's fantastic for me. So.
Well, I have to thank you very much for reaching out and giving me this opportunity. This is my first podcast.
Well,
So,
congratulations.
yeah, I was pretty excited about it. And I have to agree. The chats that I do on Facebook, which I get so much out of them. So I say all the time, I cannot even believe how I am so blessed to have all of these people in my life that I never would have known before. So thank you very much for helping me out
Oh,
with
thank
this.
you.
And if anybody wants to um, connect with me, they can go to thislifegoeson.com. That's where they can find me. And I would be more than happy to have a chat. I'm pretty good at pulling things out of people actually to figure out what they like and what they're good at.
Yes.
So I think it would be worth a 15-minute chat with me. So
Yeah. And I
thank you
think,
so much, Sean. I really appreciate
no
this.
problem at all. And I think, again, more than ever, we're going to have to get creative. We're going to have to go in, and we're going to have to do this in order to, again, the landscape's changing,
Yeah.
and we better change with it. And finding someone like you that can help someone build their brand, someone that can help see what the value that they can add is critical now. So this is actually perfect timing. And again,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
And Thinking Big Tribe, we are very close to the next milestone, and I really need your help to reach more people who can benefit from this content, especially during these difficult times. And ratings and reviews directly impact the search rankings for this podcast. So please help us out and give us more ratings and reviews. If you haven't already subscribed, please go to the podcast, subscribe, rate the show, and also write a review. That really will help us out. And thank you so much for helping reach more people worldwide and empowering them to start thinking bigger.